Hello again, whiskey friends. It's Darrell, the Whiskey Saint. We are back with another review, guys. And this is on a bottle that I wanted to review for a while. I've probably had this thing going on, God, maybe 8 months or so. And it would have went toe to toe with my whiskey of the year for 2023. It would have made my list for sure for 2023. Only thing with this bottle, it was released in 2022. I didn't get it until 2023, guys, but that was the reason why I didn't include it in my top whiskeys. In all honesty, this bottle scored 1 point lower than my top whiskey of the year for 2023. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. Guys, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and that subscribe. You're going to see what I'm about to get into in a minute. So stay tuned. We're about to kick the show off. Cheers. Welcome back, guys. So, what we're going to be diving into today, like I said, is probably one of the best whiskeys that, God, to be frank, that I would say maybe top 10 to top 15 for sure of like just the best things I've ever tasted, which is a crazy statement for a whiskey that is under 5 years old. What we're going to be talking about, guys, and reviewing with you is a bottle from New Holland. This right here, and it's their Rye Whiskey. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. I haven't went back to it in probably about 7 months or so, but this bottle was barreled on August 16th, 2017, and filled on July 21st of 2022. So literally, guys, a month shy of 5 years old. So a 4-year-old rye whiskey. But the thing with this, I believe it was aged in a 15-gallon barrel, if I'm correct. I know they were small barrels. And just to give you a look, right, these are two New Holland Ryes, but look at the color difference. And this one's actually older. This is a 6-year whiskey, so a little less than 2 years older than this one, but the color difference is night and day, right? Look at that. You can barely see through this one. It's almost black versus just that, that normal amber color over here, right? On something that's 2 years older, which is crazy. But yeah, heavy barrel influence on this whiskey, just literally sitting in the back. My buddy, Mr. Franchi, thank you for this, sir. I think they only did 2 barrels, and I was lucky enough to have both barrels. The other one's actually lower than this one because I shared a lot of it. Because that one is literally just as good. Very, very minor differences between the two, from what I remember. But we're going to dive into barrel 17H16. The other one's on the side of me, but like I said, just those 2 barrels from last year or 2022 that they released. And these things were stellar from what I remember. But we're going to pour it up with you guys since I never actually reviewed it and was literally one of the best things I've tasted last year. But couldn't include it in my top 23 because it was released in 2022. So a little bit of stipulations on that. But like I said, guys, I remember this thing being pretty killer. And it's 4 years old, which is nuts, right? Those who've been watching the channel, they've seen that my top whiskey of the year was arguably maybe a 2 to 3 year old rye whiskey from Hard Truth that was just stellar, a single barrel from them. And my number 2, technically, that I've tasted was another rye whiskey, which is kind of crazy. So I'm usually more on the bourbon side of things, but these bottles are special. The ones that were in the smaller barrels, I believe this one was in a bigger barrel, hence the higher age and lighter color. Less barrel influence. So I hope they maybe have some smaller barrels hidden back in their rick house to maybe put something else similar to that this year, but who knows. But we're going to dive in on the nose of this, guys, and just give you notes. But just look at that. It's just literally just sticking to the glass, just dripping down. Super viscous. Cheers. Oh. So right off the nose initially, if you guys are familiar with Kings County bourbon, like their high proof single barrels, I get a jammy berry note on those bottles, which is very present on the nose of this. It's almost like blackberries and blueberries, but just like literally if you were making a pie, kind of like just cooked down and just over the stovetop. Can't think of the word I'm actually trying to describe it as, but yeah, just literally threw some blueberries on top of the stove, threw them in a pot, stirred them up. Ah, figs, blueberries, very dark on the nose. Not much oak presence cutting through, but it's just so fruity. You would think this is finished coming off the nose. There's the oak peeking through a little bit. But this nose is I just want to keep just smelling it. Oh, it smells so good. I'm a sucker for fruity, like not flavored whiskeys, but finished whiskeys. And this just comes across like that. Like I said, if I tasted this blind, I probably would have thought it was finished off the nose. Can't remember too much on the palate. I just remember it being good. So we're going to dive in, guys. Cheers, everybody watching. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, that's just silly. This stuff is just absolutely like, oh God. I think I need to really blind this against hard truth. I know on paper the hard truth scored higher by just 1 point, but this whiskey is just absolutely ridiculous. Like I took one sip and I literally like lost my train of thought because it's that good. So berry forward. Even on the palate, you would probably think this is finished in maybe some type of like red wine or maybe a brandy cask or something because it's getting a very heavy berry influence on the nose and on the palate, which I absolutely love. Like, holy crap, guys. And it just lights up your palate. Literally front, mid, back of the palate, berry, blackberry, a little bit of vanilla right there, some nice oak that comes across on the palate, not so much on the nose, and just tons and tons of flavor. Let's take another sip. Yeah, that's crazy. It does remind me, though, and I said it on the nose, of some Kings County bourbon picks, like some of their really high proof, the hazmats that they put out. They have that similar note that's like that berry compote that I'm getting all over the nose and palate of this, which I get on those as well. This is coming in too, guys, at a whopping 134.6 proof. So it's no slouch on proof, and you get all of that. And I wouldn't say, when I say all of it, it's more so the flavor. It's not really heat. Like, so it doesn't light your mouth up with all the heat, but it lights you up with like all the flavor, which is even better, right? Less heat, but all the flavors are just literally just like firecrackers, sparklers off your tongue. Like it's just like rock pop. Is it? Is it rock pops? You know what I'm trying to say, but just the pop rocks, just it's crazy. Oh my God. And it's just still lingering on my tongue. Like this is just ridiculous. I'm gonna be sad to see when these go. Like I got literally less. I probably have half of this in the other barrel that they did, along with this being, about a little more than 2/3 full. Oh my goodness, or a little under half, should I say? But I hope they put something out that's in maybe a smaller barrel so you can get some similar like taste from them. But if they're anything like the other single barrels that I've seen that were like the lighter color ones, it just doesn't have that heavy like barrel influence. Like it just lacks a little bit of flavor and some depth. Where this one just hits on every level. Oh my God. Yeah, this may have took, like I said, on paper, it scored a 92 to, I think, Hard Truth being like a 93. But this was my second highest score in whiskey of all last year. Like I said, I just couldn't include it because it wasn't released last year. It was released in 2022. But yeah, this deserves every bit of that 90 range. This is crazy. One more sip, guys. Yeah, I can sit here and just drink that all day. It is that good, guys. I will say keep a lookout. It's just tough, right? I'm not sure how common these barrels are going to be in the near future for New Holland, but they have put out some really, really good whiskey. This is 4 years old and it's absolutely incredible. The other pick I said I do have is a 6-year-old single barrel from them. Not as good, but still good. You know, and the price points for these whiskeys are, I think, like 50, 60 bucks. I think the rye was like 59.99. You know, and when you're talking about, you know, some of the best stuff you ever had at 4 years, 60 bucks, it doesn't get much better than that, guys. So I just want you guys to keep an eye out. I don't know if you're going to get something that's as good as this one, but New Holland is putting out some good whiskey. You know, there's a couple wheat whiskeys that they put out, you know, in the last year or so that was excellent as well. Those ryes from 2022 were just absolutely incredible. You know, and I even got, like I said, one from 2023, which was pretty good. You know, and I wasn't mad about the purchase. It just coming off of the one that I just sampled, you know, it's tough because it sets the bar so high that you get slightly disappointed when you get something that's just not as good, right? You know, you have your first one at that level and you're kind of expecting maybe some of them to follow suit, you know, but that's the thing with a single barrel, right? They're all going to be different. We hope you enjoy them all, right? And they kind of play off one another. But sometimes some aren't as good as the others. You know, you can't do anything about it. But this whiskey here, like I said, guys, scored a 92 on my rankings. Hard Truth, that single barrel, scored a 93. Tasting this now, like, it's tough to blind them too because they're so drastically different. I'll know what they are immediately. But I prefer this. As good as that Hard Truth is, I know it scored a point above this, but just everything about the whiskey in terms of just taste profile just rubs me a little bit more on the right side of things than that Hard Truth, as good as that whiskey is. Oh man, I'm not even gonna leave any more in this glass, guys. We're gonna finish this and we're gonna cut this off. Thanks everybody that's been sticking with me so far. New Holland, keep a lookout for 2024, guys, because they're doing some stuff. They're doing some stuff. Just let it sit on my tongue. And it's just like, it just stays there. Still tasting it. Still tasting it. Literally, it just seems like the whiskey's still sitting on top of my tongue. Like that's how much that finish lasts, or how long that finish lasts, and those flavors just sit there. Like it's absolutely crazy. Literally seems like I took another sip. Has my mouth almost watering, which is crazy, guys. Oh man, I'm not saying it to say it, guys. Believe me, this specific single barrel and the other one that I have are absolutely incredible. But like I said, keep an eye out for New Holland. I don't think you'll be disappointed. New Holland and Hard Truth are putting out some young whiskey that are really, really good. You know, you don't need those super allocated bottles, the Stags and GTSs. Like this stuff will kill that. This bottle right here will kill almost every GTS I had, literally. And I love Stag, you know, but a 4-year-old whiskey killing out a 15-year-old, 16-year-old bourbon, like that's how good this is, guys. You know, like I don't know if anybody would really get the chance to have this specific barrel. It's very, very limited. But I just want to put the brand out there because they're doing some really, really good stuff. Young, cheap, but excellent, right? And that's what matters. You know, it's not the $500 bottle or the $300 bottle. I would love to just find $30 bottles, $40 bottles that are just bangers, those sleeper things, right? That you can buy multiple of that nobody really knows. And that right now is New Holland and like Hard Truth for me. Like, God, the caramel malts, like, not to get off subject, guys, but they're putting out stellar stuff. You know, like I would buy like every single bottle that they put out, you know, besides the chocolate malt. Besides that one, if you guys know me, I don't like coffee, and that one kind of comes across a little coffee-ish. So I stay away from that. But, you know, I'm all for the cheaper stuff as long as the taste is there. That's what's big for me, taste. I can care less about the price. Pay $2 for a bottle if it tastes really, really good. But enough with me running my mouth over here, guys. Love every one of y'all for sticking with me through this. We are probably going to be diving into a whiskey tournament probably this coming week, if it hasn't happened already. But yeah, that is definitely in the works, guys. It's going to be super, super fun. So stay tuned. I'm going to end this off right now. Thank you all for sticking with me. Cheers, guys, into the next one.
Jeff, just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with me. But you have these whiskey friends, and you say hello again. Oh, Jeffrey, you should just be friends with